Hi, you guys. How are you doing? Well, my name is Jeneea, more also known as the Fire Starter. My job is to ignite us, to motivate us, to help stir up the gifts in others. Look, I can't help it. That's what I do. And this right here, this is the late night affair. So the late night affair is going to be so much fun. So y'all come on in. This is going to be a different type of show here. This is where we can have mature conversations with practical solutions. Once again, mature conversation with practical solutions. So I have some amazing panelists is going to be coming on. We're going to be talking about various topics or various things. We're going to be talking about relationship. Okay, there's so much going on with relationships right now. Listen, I'm so in the dark. I cannot keep up. I cannot keep up with what's going on in today's time because listen, it is it's too much. It is too much going on. So we're gonna be talking about relationship back then versus now. Okay. And I posted some things in some groups. I asked the questions. Listen, we're gonna solve these problems today. Listen, if you can't find a man, hopefully you find one after this show. Okay. If you do not have a woman, hopefully you get a woman today. All right. So this is literally going to be some mature conversations with practical solutions. Okay, we can't solve all your problems, but listen, we're gonna try. So I'm gonna invite some of my guests on right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring everybody on because I want everybody on at once. We're gonna just go ahead and dive right on into this. So as you come on, you guys just say hi to the people and let's see here. Up. Hey sis, I'm going to say it so wrong. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Miss Lisa, and go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Hello, my name is Xolisa, but I go by Lisa because it's kind of complicated to pronounce my name. I'm originally South African, but I do live in the US. So currently live in Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm looking forward to this conversation because it's very interesting. Glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. I thank you for coming on because like I said, this is going to be really, really good. And then we have Coach T. Coach T, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people? Let them know where you're from.
Hey, I'm Taylor J, Coach Taylor J, and I am from St. Louis, Missouri, U City to be exact.
Uh-oh. Show me face.
That's it.
Awesome. And what type of coach are you?
So I'm a business strategic coach. So I assist people who are starting businesses or who have already started their business, develop momentum, get strategic plans, and actually implement them. So I take them from stagnation to like literally finishing.
Awesome, awesome. So you get definitely give them momentum. So all right, Miss Anjennette, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anjennette Wilson. I am a native of San Antonio. I'm a minister in San Antonio, and I am looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. We looking forward to hear what you got to say as well. And so far, we only got one male. We waiting on somebody else to come on, but the king himself is on here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Eugene.
All right, my name is Eugene Alexander. I'm a real estate investor, life coach, image consultant, and as well, I'm a co-host of the Modern Dating Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like our Facebook page.
Awesome, awesome. Modern Day Podcast. See, I definitely want to tune in. And we're waiting on one more person. He may be able to go ahead and join us, but hopefully he can get in a little later. So let's dive into these questions. Listen, we're going to talk about relationship, okay? And certain questions I will ask for a male or woman's perspective, but you can definitely just go ahead and answer any questions. So let's start off with number one. A lot of people say communication is the problem when it comes to relationship. Who wants to talk about communication? Either tips that you want to provide or what signs of dysfunctions in a relationship to help the audience?
So I'll go first. That's cool.
Go ahead.
So with communication, I believe that oftentimes people don't really actually know what they want, so they can't communicate that. They're just kind of going with the flow, and not really dating with any intention. So when you don't know
Mhm.
what you want, you just kind of going, with the flow, and that's not cool. So yeah. So if you can't communicate what you want, you really can't communicate at all.
So the problem with communication falls of knowing who you are. That's the
Correct.
first thing you're saying.
Correct. And knowing exactly what you want.
And how hard is that nowadays when it comes to knowing who you, because we're always evolving, we're always changing. How are we supposed to know what we want? Listen, I'm a student too. I'm really asking these questions. How are we supposed to, as we change and grow, we have children, or some may not. How do we know what we want and what we don't want?
Right. So I'm actually on a journey to really learning who I am.
Okay.
My mom was found in a dumpster, and I never met my dad, and so I've always grown up with identity issues, and that caused me to want to feel the need to be accepted and wanted and all of that. And so recently, when I had to take a step back, I had to really develop a relationship with Taylor, and that started with ultimately who am I in God and what is my purpose. And it just kind of led me on a journey. So now it's exciting. I'm excited. I'm learning so much about myself. I'm spending time alone. I've learned that I love flowers and a specific type of chocolate. Just what does Taylor like? What does she want? And when it comes to my purpose and what I like and what I want, I think that when it's time for me to start dating, when I get back out here again, I think that I'll go into it just testing it out, testing the waters to figure out what I really want and like in a man. But first, my goal is to figure out what Taylor wants and what I like.
Okay, so is that a personal thing? And anybody can chime in when it comes to communication. What are you guys seeing that is an issue?
I think being able to communicate your feelings effectively and um like Taylor is saying, to get to know yourself, I think we need to be honest with who we are. And if something bothers us, I think we need to be able to communicate that in a way that another person will listen.
That part.
Instead of saying, oh, going off or, sending these texts, say, hey, we need to sit down and have a conversation about something. Not, I don't play that. I don't know who you think I am. None of that, because men don't respond to that, but they do respond to, hey, what you did the other day kind of made me uncomfortable, but that comes from knowing who you are and your limitations and your boundaries. If you don't know your boundaries, then you won't be able to communicate them.
Yeah, that
That's
was
good.
good.
That's good. Anybody else want to chime in on communication?
Yeah, I'll
I
go.
do. Actually, I'm sorry. I do think it really has to boil down to you getting to know yourself and knowing what you want. Because if you don't want, then you will just fall for anything. And I do believe when you do actually do know what you want, you get to understand how you want to be treated. You get to know what are your deal breakers, and you get to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So I do want to second that you have to take time and get to know yourself. That way you can know exactly who you need in your life so that you don't waste nobody's time. If you know there's no compatibility, then there's no wasting each other's time.
I absolutely agree with you. Eugene, you was getting ready to say something when it comes to communication.
Yeah. Direct verbal communication is being intentional about what you're talking about. And in regards to what Ms. Wilson has said, I agree with it 100%. Because even when you state your intent or state how you feel, like as a man, like, hey, I don't like that what you just did, and then you still getting uncooperation and attitude and everything like that. Then direct verbal communication really goes out the door. So, I just see a lot of lack of respect in the community. That's what I'm seeing on the modern dating scene.
Mm, that's real good. So So then now let's talk about respect, because there's different levels of respect. So from a male perspective today, talk about that, of what you're receiving or perceiving as respect when it comes to relationship.
I mean, just basic, communication. Yo, I don't like that. Like what Miss Wilson said. I've been getting therapy for 8 years. I got a mentor for 3 years, and got a great support system. And so, I'm very good at articulating myself in regards to my standards, my boundaries, and my expectation. But it seems like when I communicate that, is I'm gonna do what I want to do type. And it's like, I don't have to accept none of that. You know what I mean? So it's just, the modern dating scene is it just seems like, when the workplace came into the '60s and feminism, it just changed everything. It seems like our women they feel like they don't need a man, but
You own to something, sir. You own to something.
70% of white women they work, but they still married. So I don't what was why our women get a job and feel like they don't need a man, but the Latina woman is married, the white woman's married, the Filipino woman is married. So I think we went the wrong direction with this feminism.
Why? Well, first of all, we were married up until about 1940s, even late 1950s. I think what happened to our men is they shut down the factories and their jobs in order for them to provide. There was no more of the blue collar worker. So then our brothers ended up leaving the home to go hustle, to go do whatever, and then we got on welfare. Now, I can't speak for nobody else because I only have the Black experience. But that is when the breakdown of the family happened, was when they decided to shut down your job, brother, where you have to go and provide. And then you've got them saying, well, you can have this help with your children, and you can have this help with food stamps, and we'll give you this, but you can't have your man. And my
Mm.
man ain't got no job. My man can't be in the home. So then we have to make a decision, and that's what ultimately happened for us. The feminism was another movement that we really didn't have anything to do with. Our situation is systematic. They took you out of the home, so then for my children to go directly into the penal system.
Right. Facts. I agree with that 100%. Now, in regards to your generation, Sister Wilson, and my generation, like with me, I'm running a business right now. We're doing all right. We're still in the building stages. Don't get me wrong, but we're doing okay. And it's still this. I don't need a man and all this extra stuff and lack of cooperation. You know what I mean? So now I'm looking at either go relocate to a major metropolitan area to increase my options, or the Black take flight, like what I'm seeing with a lot of brothers. They're traveling to different countries to look for a quality wife. So, those are the options right now. So right now, there's men, they got data right now, blackdemographics.com, the U.S. Census, 50% of Black men don't have kids, and 60% of us are middle class living. And I do not have no kids, and I am middle class living. But it's,
How old are you?
I'm 34 years old, about to turn 35 in April.
Mhm. That's the age right there. They struggling.
Yeah, so I don't see it because I made extreme sacrifices. I was very conscious of not having no kids out of wedlock, and then as well to pull myself up from the bootstraps, which I did do. Now I'm on on the modern dating scene. It's just a lot of BS that's coming with it. So that's what I'm seeing. So either,
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was getting ready to say, so let's talk about that. What is the dating scene right now looks like for a male, and you speaking for the men that don't have any children and is not married? What does that look like? And then each of you guys can take like at least a minute or two to answer that question. What does the dating scene look like?
The dating scene is a cesspool. That's how I look at it. Because me personally, I don't have no kids, and I don't want to date a woman with kids. So when I'm out here, it's like That's all I'm seeing. Now I know plenty of brothers, they don't mind doing it, but in regards to my family lineage and family legacy, my great grandparents, my grandparents raised their kids, my mom parents raised their kids, my parents raised their kids. I want to have my own kids. That's how I want to start off in life. And it's not looking really well. So if I gotta go to Africa over here to Senegal or Togo or go to Detroit, that's what I'm gonna have to do. But it's not looking good. Definitely a cesspool and a whole bunch of hyena females. That's how I'm looking at
Ooh,
Wow.
call them
Wow.
hyenas, Lord.
So Miss so Coach Taylor, go ahead and answer that question real quick. How does it look? How does the dating scene look right now compared to back then and now?
I don't know if people are being intentional now when it comes to dating and starting families. I think that, like she said, the family of the household was just kind of broken up and kind of thrown off track, years ago. And it became more of survival and partying and things like that. We kind of lost some values, I think, along the way. And like I didn't grow up with the dad, so I didn't really know what it was to deal with men. And I know a lot of women who are in the same boat, and I also know a lot of men who didn't have their fathers in the home, and so they don't really understand and know how to value and honor a woman. Just like a lot of women, we don't know how to honor men. So there is definitely a lack of honor, even outside of dating. In the just in the world, I know that black women are the most undervalued women in the country, period. And so, with us not having anyone to protect us or cover us, it gets kind of hard. We kind of level up, like, hey, I got this. I'm independent because we have to step into that role, unfortunately. And when it comes time to transition over to be a wife, it's kind of hard. It's a hard transition because maybe we didn't have an example or we don't have anyone to kind of coach us through that. And then you have men who are angry, and a lot of men aren't getting counseling or don't have mentors, don't have positive role models in their life, and they're not really intentionally pursuing a wife and not really intentionally working to become a husband. So I think that just a lack of knowledge on what the role of a wife and what the role of a husband is not present. We don't talk about it. I know people, we don't really talk about dating and how dating is a process, how it's okay to date and get to know people and just kind of take it easy and slow. We just aren't clear and educated on how to go about that. So there are people who are intentionally pursuing marriage and it looks really good. I know people, and I know people who are not intentionally pursuing marriage and it looks bad. So I think that we just all need to get on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's
Go
all I want to
ahead,
say.
Miss Lisa. Go ahead.
Well, speaking from being from South Africa, okay, there's cultural difference when it comes to situations like this because how I grew up, I grew up with a mom and a dad. In my culture in South Africa, it was rare to see a single parent home. I did not experience single parent home until I actually lived in the US. And over here, it's like the majority of homes are single parent homes, which is absolutely different. And over there, the majority of homes have two parents. As far as the dating scene, speaking from my experience, I've mostly dealt with a lot of cultural clash when it comes to dating in this country because I am not from here, although I've been here long enough.
Mhm.
For me, my experience, sometimes I wonder if it depends with the city that you're in. Because when I lived in California, I saw brothers who were like, stand up guys with their own, and then the city that I'm in, it's full of strong women who would actually be a wonderful wife. But the men in my city are like, okay. Basically, it's like women who take care of men. And then how I was raised, I can respect a man that wants me to take care of him. I once tried to date somebody, and within 2 weeks, they asked me to buy them a pack of cigarettes. I said, oh no, if you can't afford your cigarettes, then you shouldn't smoke. Okay, so we are not even going to go nowhere because if you can ask me for a pack of cigarette, I can respect that. So I think sometimes it just depends with the city that you're in because I do believe that there are good people out here and most people looking for the same thing, but the distance thing is the problem. So dating scene in my city, it's terrible. I don't even like try dating no more. I'm more focused on me getting closer to God, focusing on me and my children, and just like getting myself to the next level. Like if I come across that, then God is good. But if not, I'm just focusing on what God's purpose for my life is right now, and just focus on that. If He finds me, for me to even look at Him, He's gonna have to ask God, "Hey, God, can you please have her look over this
Listen,
because it's a mess. It don't make sense. It just doesn't make no sense. So I like deal with a lot of cultural different things. Like the gentleman said, women say they don't need a man. Oh, please, we need men, okay? We need men, but the women that do understand that they do need men, no matter how successful you are, we come across the brothers that, okay, yes, you're supposed to lead me, you're a man, but you have to give me something to follow. I'm not gonna follow you leading me to the drain. Give
Where
me
where
something
where
to
are you
follow.
meeting these men at?
That's another thing. It's to a point where I don't even bother meeting nobody. Right now, I'm just
They're
focused
everybody. They're
on
everywhere.
me. It can be anywhere. It can be at church. I even went to church. The church
Preach.
was like even worse. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I do believe they're good men. I do believe there's somebody for everybody. But I just think these days people have been hurt so many times that they are so afraid to really be honest about how they feel. And people really don't really take time and figure out what they truly, truly want because you have to be honest. If you only want somebody to play with, then you have to be honest from jump. Hey, I'm not looking for a relationship. I want somebody to play with. I think people these days, and I think these days people involve sex way sooner than it should be. And then now 2 months, 6 months down the road, you're finding out I don't really like this person. By now the sex is so good, you're so caught up, you end up overstaying. After 2 years, you done drained your life. You done rent. I mean, it happens in both ways.
Can
I
I
just
can I can I ask you a question?
yes,
Do
please.
you feel like the type of men that you looking for? Do you think they have like standards in regards to the women they looking to date, or you know? Because in my perspective, it seems like women just want to show up, want us to take
Mm-mm.
you the way you are, and while we just sat here and grinded and made all these sacrifices.
Nope. That's another thing. Like I said, sometimes I think maybe people are in different states because not maybe in your state the majority of the women that you come across do think that way, and most of the women that don't think that way, we're busy. We don't have time to even like go out somewhere. So apparently you're supposed to leave the house to meet people today. Well, I'm busy. Like if I'm not like dealing with my hospice patients, which we're losing. There's so much bigger things going on that the women that do think that way, we're busy. We're working. We're busy. Raising our children, so we don't have time to meet people. But there are women who do think that way. And maybe sometimes men expect what they're looking for to come in a different package with size two waist and all that stuff. Sometimes men can be very superficial. They go for looks and then down the road, when they find out that okay, this is just looks, but there's no substance here. But then it's too late. I
So,
just think
so
are
okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your question.
are men not wanting? Is it wrong for a man to want a woman that has a healthy lifestyle that is fit? Is that wrong?
that I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think you should look at the person's values. Do you guys want the same thing? Are you guys compatible?
Mhm.
Because you can
Mhm.
get sex in a in a good body in each and every corner. But
Mhm.
I mean, you're not gonna leave with the nice, healthy body. There's things that have to come with that healthy body. Does that healthy body have those things that you need to sustain yourself as a man, as a husband? Can this sexy body breathe life into you? Can this sexy body pray things over you? Pray off things. Can this sexy body cover you in things
Right.
that matter?
I
You know,
mean,
so
I mean, the
you
thing is,
know,
I mean, the thing is, with men, we all know men are vain. We're vain people. You know, it's in our, we're hardwired to look for a woman that's attractive, that's fit. And we're not asking for too much. We're not asking for you to be a size two, but I mean, we'll take a size four, size six. I mean, give us
but
some leeway.
So
if
pause for a
if
second.
for
So
size
wait. So
four,
before you
We-
before you answer that question, let's go dive into something else because y'all all off
right?
my strip. Okay. So Eugene, as a male perspective, you got right now three women, and you have women that's watching. Coming from a male's perspective, what do you want? Not
Cooperation,
necessarily
co-op.
with you as an individual, but I want you to
What?
speak on behalf of the men. What are they looking for when it comes to dating or this dating scene? Because there's so many things out there. They got the social media, they got the dating apps, you
Okay.
have swingers, you have polygamy, you have you have all these different elements of perspectives on what people want. But when it boils
Well,
down to it, as far as with men looking for in a woman in a mate, what do you believe that those attributes are?
well, I can only speak for myself because every man is his own man. But I know me personally, like I'm looking for a woman that doesn't have kids, a woman that's healthy, that likes to work out time to time. She ain't got to be a bodybuilder or a fitness model, but definitely not overweight. I need a woman that's cooperative. You know, I do not like attitude. I'm a very dominant person. So, you know, when I tell you I don't like something, I do not want that to continue. I have boundaries, standards, and expectations just like the next person. So I'm looking for a woman that's tangible, reciprocal, a woman of value, a woman that's going to be an asset. So, you know, right now that's what I'm looking
So
for.
are you asking for those things because you have reached a certain bar in which she should automatically receive from a man?
Yeah, I mean, I've been grinding it out. I've been
Okay.
building my credit, building my business. I sacrificed. I knew that I didn't want to have no kids, and you know that's just how my family legacy and lineage is. So you know, definitely I look for a woman that's beautiful, and I'm not. I don't feel there's nothing wrong for me to want a woman that's pretty, that's attractive, that's slim or curvy. I like curvy women. You know what I'm saying. But in regards to the extra stuff. Then inspirational too, you know what I mean? She could be like you know, NAACP coordinator, or she could be a community
An
leader or something
advocate.
like that, you
Mhm.
know. But there's plenty of good brothers out here. I mean, it's 50% of us don't have kids. You can look it up on blackdemographics.com. You got 60% of black men out here that middle class living, and I'm here to represent that. There's good men out
Okay. As Coach Taylor, can you answer the same question when it comes to the perspective of what you believing women are looking for? Because we talked about it a while ago. Early in this conversation, we was talking about knowing who you are and what you want. And Mr. Stone here is saying, how do you not know who you are? That was the question that he asked. So, on a woman's perspective, because they say that we are so very undecisive and not understanding what we want. So, can you just get some light on that? And then we're going to go to the next topic.
Yeah, sure. So I know from me and my perspective, as I spoke about black women, we're undervalued, and so we want someone that can truly lead, set an example, set the tone for the household, truly cover and protect, know how to make decisions. He has to be a decision maker. I know that men complain about us women not knowing what to eat all the time, but just make the decision for us. Tell us what we want to eat. A man that could truly hold his own and understand what responsibility is, know how to maintain a household and handle bills and things like that. We don't want to have to always come up and, take the lead in all things. And then when we do take the lead because they don't know how, sometimes, they get a little, it gets a little rough. You know what I'm saying? So we don't mean to be super strong, but we do want to know that, we have a man who can handle it. A man who truly knows who he is and who has done the work to become whole and healed, and a man who knows how to communicate. I think communication is really important. And so, like I said before, once you know who you are and what you like, and you have all these values and all of that, then you could truly communicate what it is that you want and need.
Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about, I didn't even write this down, but let's talk about submission or being submitted into your mate. There is a different type of levels when it comes to submission and being submitted to a person, to whoever you're with. Um, that looks different type of way. So one by one, can y'all just explain what that looks like in a relationship? What you're willing to submit to, what you're not, and in that dynamic and your perspectives. Whoever can go first.
All right, I'll go first. In regards to me, she got to quit her job and she's going to have to work with me full time, come build a family legacy in the lineage. And that's the only option. And then also, we had a meme that was shared on Facebook, and I would like to share the story. Me and Sister Jeneea spoke about it. The man had asked his wife about being served first within the household because that's his standard. And the woman decided that she wanted to serve her father first. Now, I know plenty of men that don't care about being served first. I know great relationships, they're great guys. But if I communicate with you that I want to be served first, then that's what I want to be done within my house. Especially in regards to this situation, because the man was paying all of the bills. He wanted to be served first, and she said, "I'm gonna serve my dad." That's not submitted. So this is just basic requirements of certain things. Some men are not extreme with you. They might not want you to put the job and work for their business full time. But they just asking to get the plate served first, and they can't even get that in regard to submission and cooperation. So that's how I feel.
So I want to go next. So Eugene, the things that you kind of named were more actions and services. So it kind of makes me think like if your love language is acts of service, but to me, submission isn't more of always necessarily of what you do as far as like serving plates and things like that, but it's like your heart posture and showing honor. I hold you at high regard, meaning I'm allowing you to take lead even if I think that your idea is dumb. Like there's been plenty of times where in previous relationships, he got this great idea, and I'm just thinking like, oh my God, this is not going to end well. And I just submitted to it. I said, hey, let's try it. And he did it, and it failed. And I didn't throw it in his face like I told you so. I knew it wasn't gonna work. I just say, well, what do you think? And then oftentimes when you become gentle, with the man and you're submitted in that way, they'll ask for your help. They'll ask for your opinion or your idea or whatever it is. But I think that submission is more of your heart posture and your mentality concerning your man, not necessarily a list of things that you check off for me to do. Because then I'm thinking, hey, now you want a slave. You want someone to order around. And women are okay with taking orders from men, or I wouldn't say orders, but when a man like, hey, can you do this for me? I don't think that women ever have a problem with it. I think that even women who love a man will jump to it and do it without him even asking. But I think that when it becomes demanding, you're kind of crossing over a line of abuse. I think like it's
I
still
mean,
we're
but
two healthy individuals with our own mind, especially if you want a woman who is a community activist or a leader, she got some leadership in her, and I'm sure she's going to be strong in some areas. But I think that just to go back to it, I hear that the things that you call submissive are actions and things, which make me think that, hey, maybe your love language is acts of services, but I think that true submission is your heart posture and how you handle a man, being meek and gentle and understanding and
Well,
listening and allowing him to lead.
that's just basic femininity, and it's not acts of service. It's just my love language. That's my preference. If I want to be
That's
served
not so.
within the house, that's my love language.
Yeah.
If I want you to quit your job and work time and build a family business, then that's my love language. I don't
That
look at
makes
that
sense.
in any type of negative way. Because the men that I highly respect, one of my buddies, $30 million business, him and his wife are working right now. That I'm like, yo, that's gonna be me.
Yeah,
And
you
I
want
know
a
some other
partner.
men that got successful businesses and their wife working for them. So it's definitely acts of services or like, and see that's the problem with the modern day scene. You want this man to be this guy. He builds himself up to be this guy. And what do you expect from this man? You just expect to have his bullhead mind. Why don't you even think he's a slave? Why don't you think building a legacy and working towards the family lineage? Especially if you're going to be K-Pro, get to see everything how to work. So you're a part of the building process. So, I mean, it's the mindset, language. It just
Right, that makes sense. And I could hear how that's your love language. People, we like to be served. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that most of the time, I think it was your tone of voice. She gon' do this, she gon' do that. I think that sometimes when people come off that way, it's like, wait a minute, hold up, but it's more of a, when it comes to submission and just loving one, it's a gentle, it's like an ease your way in. It's soft, it's meek, it's mild. Whereas you were like, she gonna quit her job. Well, you weren't like that because I'm a woman, but you was like, she gonna quit her job, she gonna work for me. And I think that when a woman loves you and she believes in you, and she can see that you're able to really lead her, and that the finances are together, and that she doesn't have to worry, I think that transition will be so super easy when you say, hey babe, I'm making this amount of money. I think I want to go ahead and take you off your job. Like, I want you to just work for me. She ain't gonna have no problem running.
you
It's
you
when us
you
women
say
don't feel
you
secure, when we don't feel like, safe. Especially when there's a track record of, I always gotta pick up the extra. I always gotta come rescue you. We want somebody we can run with. And then with that, when we feel like we're protected and we're safe, and that our man can really lead us and guide us in that area, especially level of finances, then I think that transition will be super easy. And I think that all women, especially strong women, want to quit our jobs and work for our man, period. So I don't see anything wrong with your perspective. I think that the way you came out with it kind of hit me. I was just like, dang, man, I don't want to be a slave. So
but
yeah.
like as a woman of your caliber, then you just use your femininity, and it was just toned down. That's
True.
all it is. Hey, baby, you coming off a little strong. That's what you want to do. Just let me know. But you being a little aggressive right now with your tone of voice, and I will lower my voice. In regards to what you said, if I have a bad ideal and if it don't make sense, that's easy for me to. I want to know if something what I'm doing is going to send us in a burning house, and there's no exit strategy. So I would respect that. I dated a woman. She didn't want to quit her job, but I met a woman that she did quit her job and came to work for me full time. So sometimes we pick the wrong mate, and I can admit that. And then sometimes, like I said, in the modern dating scene, we're not properly vetting people. We get things take time, and I just thought it was very strange that the woman that I'm sleeping with doesn't want to quit, and then I can meet somebody and they see what I'm doing,
and they'll quit their job and work for me full time. So I think we
Well, let me
there.
chime in real quick, Eugene. And sorry to cut you off. I just want to reiterate what she was saying. There is a lot of, so to speak, strong women, independent women, or whatever you want to category you want to put it, that have no problem submitting under that authority and working with her husband to build. They're actually looking for a man to take that lead and to build. They will be happy for him to think for them and to make all of the decisions, and they will be willing to do it, and just lay it all down and give it to him and just say, okay, whatever my husband say, this is what my man said, that's what we about to do. Be quiet. You understand what I'm saying? Don't have no problem doing that. But that, I think, and the example that you're showing for women that's watching this show, as far as men as well, you're establishing yourself and you're becoming established, right? You have goals that you're meeting, so therefore you have a certain standard already that you're expecting them to come into. But women, it's nothing wrong for those that don't want to submit. It's nothing wrong for them to coming in and submitting and wanting to work with and build too. It's an absolutely great thing. So just want to encourage that. I get what she's saying, and let me hit on something. I know we're going to get to you, Miss Lisa, but we're going to go straight into another topic that I want to talk about was your love language, because that matters. And then Miss Tyler hit on that. The love language matters, because if you your love language is me being submitted unto you. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. If I'm following your lead and not giving you no headache and not stressing you out and just complimenting everything that you do when you say your speak your essence, that's how you receive love. That's not even how you give it. That's how you receive love. But for someone else, they might want to give gifts, and that's how they receive. And you may not want to receive that. So how important is it to, and we're going to start off with you, Miss Lisa, how important is it to balance or complement each other's love language?
I think it's very important. I mean, that's another tricky one actually, because my love language is more action. Example, I do agree with Eugene as far as the submitting, because uh how I mean, I don't have a problem being submissive. Actually, I would rather be in a relationship where the man is, I mean, leads the home. But I strongly believe that you have to give me something to follow. For me, love language is to do. Like, you come home, find a clean home, me like breathe life into you, like wash your feet, like things like that. They come natural when um when you have something to follow. They just follow. Some men don't give us something to follow, then you have to kick into that strong mode of being a strong woman because you don't have a really good leader. Love language, I think, has to match. Maybe that's one of the conversations that people need to have, because I was in a situation where I really do feel like our love language was different. I mean, we were compatible, but it's like I was speaking Chinese and he'll be speaking English. Like we are having the same conversation, but for some reason we're not hearing each other. So I think love language is very important, you know, and everybody receives it different. I think it plays a big role in a relationship.
I want to answer too. I know that we all have our own specific love languages, and we also, give love in a specific way. Our love languages, to me, can change. We can have multiple, and I think that it's up to us to constantly communicate that. I have, so this is this man that I know, and he's married to a good friend of mine, and I love their relationship so much. Something that I just recently learned about them was that he struggled with even just opening up the door for her and any woman really. And we talked about that, and it kind of broke my heart. I'm like, you don't open up the door. Like, I was devastated because I love them so much and I love them. And I'm like, that's something that you should do. You're supposed to do it. But he gave me another perspective, like, hey, that's not something that I was raised on, or, it's just not in me. But after that conversation, like, I was in tears talking to them about, you don't open up a door, and it just unlocked an entire conversation. But he's working on it now. He's excited about doing it. He understands how it makes us women feel when you open up a door. Just that simple gesture, just having that conversation. And so I think that, just always communicating that. Like she said, we're always growing, always evolving. And with that means that we have to always communicate. My grandmother and grandfather, they have a specific thing that they do for each other. And so their love languages change, but my grandfather never allows my grandmother to carry any bags, especially when we're bringing in like groceries or shopping bags from the car into the house. He does all of that. And right now he has Parkinson's, but he don't care. He like, I'm getting these bags for my wife. And my grandmother always prepares dinner for my grandfather. Like, there isn't a day that goes by where she doesn't make sure that he eats, and she always brings him his plate. That's just her thing that she does for him. And no matter how angry they are, if they're in a rough season, they can both expect one another to do those simple acts of service. And I don't care if love languages change. My grandfather knows that Judy, she's going to make sure that she makes sure I eat. And then, on special occasions, he'll surprise her like, hey, babe, I ordered dinner, or I brought over a chef, or, I'm taking you out tonight. And it's like, oh my God, thank you, Richard. But, those are some things that they communicated about. I don't care how rough the relationship is. He's going to get those bags out of that car. And I don't care if they just got an argument about finances. My grandmother is going to make sure that my grandfather eats. And so I think that consistency is key. If, pick something that you love to do that they can always count on. And also, communicating like, hey, babe, I don't know if I like gifts no more, but I really want to start spending more time with you. Just communicating that, and don't think that, hey, they can read my mind, or I'm doing this, so they should just get it. Like, really communicate it, So, and especially if people, what do you give someone that has everything, So it's kind of like, okay, now what makes them tick? What makes them happy? So physical touch, words of affirmation, what is it? Quality time. What is it? All of those. Gift giving.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, I'm missing another one, but yeah.
It's
So yes,
okay.
that's my
Now,
take.
Eugene, you're very boisterous on what you want, but when it comes to the love language of your spouse, your woman, your future wife that you're looking for, how are you willing to balance that?
I'm just gonna accommodate.
And that's all you have to say about that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good at active listening. So if she tell me something she likes, and as long as it's what they means, I do it. And if it's something that she don't like, I make sure I don't do that again. So I just make sure I'm very kind of accommodating in regards to her love language.
Great. So it's not just one-sided, because although you're firm on what you want, it's not just going to be a one-sided relationship, and that's what you're
No,
saying.
it's not at all. But like I said, out here in the modern dating scene, just based on a lot of experiences, and I don't bring over to the next relationship. But you gotta be staying on your principle. We say square or whatever, but I'm just gonna stand
Absolutely.
on it. But yeah, to answer your
I
question, just accommodate.
Okay, I agree. I agree. And everyone needs to do that. They need to stand on their principles, because otherwise you'll be out here in the streets. Okay. You get tricked and deceived, and you'll be taken further than you want to go. So we're going to go straight into the next topic, and we're going to talk about one of the audience members spoke about being in a relationship and the male wanted to hide the relationship. Let's talk about that. Let's get into it. Is that okay?
No.
No.
Hiding. Yeah,
Being
go ahead.
private and hiding are two different things.
Yeah,
So
I
you can be
mean,
private and
yeah,
don't want everybody in your business, but
yeah.
you can meet the mom and stuff. But hiding it, nah. Mm-mm.
I think if he's hiding you, that's not a relationship. You're probably a side piece. You just don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
If he's hiding you, you're a side piece. You just don't know. It's easy. I mean, we're too old. Why are you hiding me? What are we playing hide and seek? We're too old. If he's hiding me, I'm the side piece.
It's just that
Yeah,
simple.
no
Right.
disagreement with
Everybody
that.
in agreement with that.
Yeah.
So if someone hides you, meaning they don't want you to tell them, they your mama, your cousin, sisters, friends, Facebook posts, they don't want none of that stuff, then there's something else going on, correct?
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess that sums
That's
up that
it.
question. So the next thing I want to talk about is insecurities because surprisingly, it was a young lady that posted, and she said the difficulties that she's finding in relationships is getting over her own insecurities. Let's talk about that because I think that's very, very important in relationships to know where you are emotionally. I think a lot of broken people have gotten into new relationships and end up breaking those people in the process. So, one by one, you guys can take the lead on it and just talk about insecurities and how do you recognize that? How do you prevent from hurting other people in the process of healing? Because the first way to heal is not getting under somebody else. I don't believe that logic. So what do you guys think about that?
So I'll go first. So insecurities is your responsibility. You know, and you have to have a level of self awareness to know what your insecurities are. So if you're not aware of self, then you really can't identify those things. But you can see, you can check out patterns in previous relationships on how things went. So if there's something that's just not working and you see a pattern, it's up to you as an individual to work on those things. And I think that is very important for us to actually prepare for a relationship. So, do the work, do the healing, understand, that some things in your childhood or even adulthood, trauma and things can affect the way that you perceive people and places and things and all of that. And so, as a person, you have to take ownership of yourself, and say, hey, I'm going to do the work to grow and to become better. So that's my thing. I think that sometimes we look for other people to fix us. So if you're broken and insecure, you'll go into a relationship expecting this man or this woman to fix you. Hey, I'm insecure about this, but if this person, this lover, always tells me that I look good, then I'll feel better. But when that person goes away, then you're still broken. And that's also unnecessary stress and pressure on your spouse as well. It's not their responsibility. So dating is a mature thing. You have to be, and I'm speaking from experience. Listen, so I'm like, dating is a mature thing. You're dealing with a whole nother person. So do the work to take care of yourself and become whole and grow and know that your response is everything. So even if you're in a relationship and you have things, insecurities and things like that, you can't take it out on the next person, on your spouse, to make it better. You just have to really do the work to fix it and communicate that with your spouse. Like, hey, I got this area that I'm trying to grow in. If you can hold me accountable, I'm gonna go to counseling. I'm reading these books. So take care of yourself and be responsible for your own self.
Anyone else want to chime in?
I agree with her 100%. She teaching tonight. I hope everybody got their books out and writing down because she going in. I'm definitely very surprised in regards to today's conversation from all of the women on the podcast. Um, so yeah, definitely it's their responsibility. Get your therapist if you're insecure because you might have some issues going on. Find you a mentor, somebody that can, iron you out because they're not going to be politically correct like your therapist. And then find you a great support system. You can join a chamber of commerce. You can join a professional organization like NAACP, or you can join Toastmasters. Surround you around people that enjoy doing things that you like to do, and then as well exercise.
I haven't really. I might met some bipolar men, but I ain't never met no insecure men that's hitting the gym 5, 7 days out the week. I just never seen that. But definitely counseling, mentorship, exercise, and having a high value, high performance support system, not Pookies and Ray Rays. Your drinking buddies. That's not a good support system. You know what I mean? But some people doing some things in the community.
I absolutely agree. And I'm just going to can I be transparent? Because I'm just going to share. Because I do believe that really insecurities, some things have a lot to do with childhood traumas. And then there's some childhood traumas that we don't really realize. When you suppress stuff, and then when you grow up, you find out, oh, there are things that trigger you. So insecurity is really, you have to be secure with yourself. For me, myself, I had to go to a therapist, and then I had to identify exactly when do I get triggered to feel that way. And for me, it was anytime I feel like I'm being mistreated, that would trigger me. So, I mean, I went to therapy and had to do the work. And now it doesn't matter what happens, nothing triggers me and makes me feel insecure, because really I have to be secure with myself, because it is not fair for me to think somebody else is supposed to make me feel secured about myself. So I feel like a lot of people just go through life without really, really focusing and try to figure out what is it about me that makes me feel this way, because he has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with you. And I just feel like we don't take the time to truly check ourselves and work on ourselves. Even after a relationship, it's like you said, people want to jump to the next before they can even heal. And then if you jump to the next one before you even heal, then you're just running on emotions. And then you're going to hurt the next person. And then you're going to jump from that person to another one. So I really do feel like insecurities, like it has to be about you. You have to figure out what is it that makes you feel that way. And these are not things that you can just figure out on your own. There is a stigma about going to therapy with people of color. I don't understand why people think going to therapy, there's something wrong with you, or there is nothing wrong with therapy. It quite helped me deal with a whole lot of things, talked about childhood traumas that I didn't even realize that I had been suppressing all these years. So this insecurity topic like just reminded me of a lot of things that I had to deal with last year. And it doesn't even have to be a partner. Sometimes it can just be your family that triggers things in you that you didn't realize that, oh my God, what? So I do believe it has to start with you. You have to be secure with yourself, and then you can enter a relationship. If you still feel insecure about a whole lot of things, you're better off just staying single and dealing with yourself. So it starts with
That's
you.
That's great. And I completely agree with you. And I hope everyone, the listeners, heard it and received some great things tonight, because if you are not whole, if you're not in a good place, if you're not secure within yourself, stay single. Don't be out here trying to find yourself in people, because you're going to begin to be lost and lost. I've learned as I got older that everybody doesn't deserve my energy. You got to understand that. Everybody doesn't deserve your energy. They don't deserve your time, your space, or anything. So you have to be, once again, confident within yourself to know how to cut off things that's going to be toxic in your life. So I just thank you guys one more time for coming on and this late night affair where we just have some mature conversations with some solutions. And one by one, we'll start with Miss Lisa, Eugene, then Coach. Go ahead and tell everybody how they can connect with you on your social media, if you have that, whatever's coming up next in your life, and how we can follow you.
Well, my name, of course, you see my name and you will not forget it. It is spelled XO. Lisa. Oh, Lisa is how it's pronounced, but I also go by Lisa. I am currently working on writing a book of my story because I feel like my story needs to be told. I came to this country when I was 18 through a opera scholarship. I used to sing opera. So I was sponsored by Simon Estes, who is a well-known black opera singer. And since then, things just unveiled. It was one thing after another, but God is good. So I am hoping to finish my book hopefully in a few months. And I am currently trying to continue with my business and just focus on the next best me. And that is it. And thank you for
That's
having me tonight. I really
You're
had a good time.
welcome. You're welcome. Mr. Eugene.
All right, there we go. I appreciate you. Like my page, the Modern Dating Podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We taking off right now. It's crazy. Real estate investor, life coach, image consultant. Reach out to me and let's connect. Let's add value to each other. Let's get this thing going. I'm out. Thanks.
So I'm Coach Taylor J. You all can reach me right here on Facebook at Taylor Johnson. I also have a Facebook page, Coach Taylor J. My favorite app of all time right now is Clubhouse. So you can find me at Coach Taylor J. You can find me on Instagram, Coach underscore Taylor underscore J, and on YouTube. I just started a YouTube channel. So follow me on all those places. I also have a website, www.coachtaylorj.com, where you can find online courses and my book, and I'll have more stuff coming up. So, yeah.
That is so awesome. I thank you guys once again. I had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself and got some few information. I mean, I had to couldn't even go down the list of all the things I had on there, but I think it was definitely very, very impactful. So I appreciate every one of you guys for coming on the late night affair and just chit chatting with me and having some real conversation. We're about to do this again.
For sure, no doubt.
I
All
agree.
right.
All
Y'all
right,
have
y'all
a
have a
good
good
evening.
evening. Have a good
Bye
All right, have a
bye.
good
night.
Thank
evening.
Thank
you.
you.
Well, I thank you guys one more time for just being a part of the late night affair. Listen, this is where we have mature conversations with some practical solutions for you guys. If you have a topic that you want me to talk about with my group of panelists, please post it below. Please share this page and any questions that you have for the panelists as well when it comes to relationship, being coached, being mentored, buying houses, whatever you want to do, buy books and all that good stuff. So just stay tuned for more things from the late night affair where we have mature conversations with some practical solutions. My name is Jeneea Moore. I'm the fire starter, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful night.